Karoline Leavitt sat at the view table Friday morning for what was supposed to be her third and final segment discussing the administration's immigration policies. The previous two segments had been tense but controlled. But in this final segment, Sunny Hostin decided to go for the jugular, not realizing she was about to face a prepared adversary who would flip the entire script. Sunny started aggressively. She said, "Ms. Leavitt, before we end, I need to address something. You sit here defending policies that separate families, that cage children, that violate human rights. As a former prosecutor, I find your position morally reprehensible." Karoline remained calm, a slight smile playing at her lips. She said, "As a former prosecutor, Ms. Hostin, you should know the importance of facts over emotions. But please, continue with your accusations." Sunny leaned forward. She said, "These aren't accusations. These are documented human rights violations. And you stand at that podium daily defending them. How do you sleep at night?" "Better than you, apparently." Karoline replied coolly, "Since I don't have to reconcile defending criminals during my prosecutorial career while now claiming moral superiority on television." The table stirred. Whoopi tried to intervene. But Karoline held up her hand. "No. Let's do this," Karoline said, pulling out a thick folder. "Sunny wants to discuss moral reprehensibility? Let's discuss her record as a prosecutor." Sunny's eyes narrowed. She said, "My record is impeccable." "Is it?" Karoline opened the folder. "Let's see. The Rodriguez case, where you prosecuted a single mother for a non-violent drug offense, seeking maximum sentencing despite clear evidence of coercion. She got 15 years. Her kids went into foster care, still feeling morally superior." The color drained from Sunny's face. She said, "That's a mischaracterization. Here's the transcript." Karoline held up papers. "You called her, quote, a danger to society who deserved no leniency. She was selling to feed her kids after her husband died. But sure, lecture me about family separation." Joy tried to jump in. She said, "This is getting too personal." "Personal?" Karoline turned to her briefly. "Sunny made it personal when she questioned how I sleep at night." "Well, I'm answering. I sleep fine because I don't have her hypocritical history." She pulled out more documents. The Mitchell case. Young black man, first offense, you pushed for gang enhancement charges with zero evidence. Still in prison. The Washington case. Teenage girl, trafficking victim, you prosecuted her instead of her traffickers. Should I continue? Sunny stood up, visibly shaking. She said, "You're taking cases out of context." Context? Karoline stood too. "Let's talk context. You put more black and brown people in cages than ICE ever did. You destroyed more families than any border policy. But now you sit here in your designer suits pretending to be their champion?" The audience was dead silent, watching this devastating reversal unfold. Karoline continued. "You want to know the difference between us, Sunny? I enforce laws I believe protect Americans. You enforced laws that destroyed the very communities you now claim to represent. Which one of us should have trouble sleeping?" This moment captures what happens when sanctimony meets receipts. When someone who lives in a glass house throws stones at someone who came prepared with a wrecking ball, when moral grandstanding collides with documented history. Sunny's professional composure cracked completely. She screamed. "How dare you? How dare I what?" Karoline interrupted calmly. "Read your record? Present facts? Show the audience who you really are. I thought you liked accountability, counselor." She turned to address the audience directly. "This is who lectures you about morality every day. A woman who made her career destroying black and brown families, who now profits from pretending to defend them. The same woman who questions my conscience. Sent teenagers to adult prisons. Alyssa Farah Griffin tried to mediate. She said, perhaps we should. We should let Sunny explain. Karoline cut her off. Explain how she went from maximum sentences to maximum sympathy. Explain how she discovered compassion only after it became profitable. Explain her transformation from prosecutor to persecutor of those who do her old job. Sunny was nearly incoherent with rage. She said, I've evolved. I've grown. I've recognized. You've recognized where the money is, Karoline interrupted. You've recognized that playing victim pays better than creating them. You've recognized that TV audiences prefer reformed harsh prosecutors to current ones. That's not growth, Sunny. That's opportunism. She pulled out financial documents. Speaking of money, should we discuss your speaking fees? $50,000 to lecture about criminal justice reform. The same system you helped build. You profit from problems you created. That's not evolution. That's exploitation. Whoopi stood up. She said, this has gone too far. It hasn't gone far enough, Karoline responded. Every day, this woman sits here, judging others from a throne built on hypocrisy. Every day, she questions the morality of people enforcing laws she once enforced more harshly. Every day, she cosplays as a champion of justice while her victims rot in cells. Sunny grabbed her papers, preparing to leave. She said, I won't sit here and be attacked. Attacked? Karoline laughed. I'm reading your record. If that feels like an attack, imagine how your victims felt. Imagine how that mother felt when you took her children. Imagine how that teenager felt in adult prison. That's an attack, Sunny. This is just truth. As Sunny headed for the exit, Karoline delivered more devastating facts. Running away, counselor? Can't defend your record? Can't explain your hypocrisy? This is exactly what I expected. Prosecutors like you are brave when you have all the power and cowards when someone fights back. Sunny turned at the door, tears of rage in her eyes. She said, you're evil. I'm honest, Karoline corrected. And honestly, Sunny, you have more blood on your hands than anyone at this table. The difference is, I own my choices. You pretend yours never happened. Security moved to escort Sunny out as she was becoming hysterical. Karoline called after her. Remember this moment, Sunny. Remember what it feels like to be judged by your worst moments. To have your past weaponized against you. To be condemned without context. That's what you did to others for years. How does it feel? As Sunny disappeared backstage, Karoline addressed the remaining hosts. She won't be back today. Maybe never. Because she can't face what she was. Can't reconcile who she is. She can't admit that her moral authority is built on the graves of those she buried in prison. Joy said weakly, you've destroyed a colleague. I've exposed a hypocrite, Karoline corrected. There's a difference. She destroyed lives with actual power. I destroyed her narrative with actual facts. Which one seems worse to you? The show went to immediate commercial. When they returned, Sunny's chair was empty and remained so. Within minutes, the hashtag Karoline exposed Sunny was trending worldwide. The clips went nuclear as people researched Sunny's prosecutorial record and found Karoline's claims were accurate. Legal reform activists who had been saying this for years finally felt vindicated. The comfortable narrative of Sunny as justice warrior was shattered. Sunny released a statement about being ambushed and attacked. But it only made things worse when people contrasted it with her own prosecutorial tactics. Karoline posted the full documentation online with a simple message. Sunny Hostin questioned my morality while hiding her own immoral past. Today, the truth won. The View's legal expert is actually a reformed destroyer of families who profits from her redemption arc. America deserves to know. The View faced a crisis. Sunny took an extended leave, officially for personal reflection. Industry insiders said she might never return. At her next press briefing, Karoline was asked about the confrontation. She smiled and said, "Sunny Hostin learned what happens when you throw stones from a glass house at someone who brought a sledgehammer." She thought her TV platform made her untouchable. She thought wrong. Accountability doesn't care about your current job title. The revolution wasn't just in the confrontation. It was in the preparation, coming armed with facts. It was in the reversal, making the attacker defend. It was in proving that sometimes the most devastating response to, "How do you sleep at night?" is, "Better than you," especially when you can prove it with receipts.